Okay, I'll call to order the Utility Commission meeting for Wednesday, July 9th, 2025 at 5 p.m. A quorum is here and the agenda was properly posted.
Yes.
Now, public appearances, if there are any. Okay, seeing or hearing none. Discuss and consider the minutes of the Utility Commission meeting of June 11th, 2025. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And no abstaining. Thank you. Number 5, discuss and consider approval of the vouchers. I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers as presented. Could I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No one abstaining. Thank you. Number 6, unfinished business. Item A, presentation update on well 2 rehab.
So with us here today is Strand, both Josh and Nate Iwanowski from Strand, here to give a presentation on our well 2 update, as we're about 50% through the drawings. Our PSC application has been submitted, so we're waiting on final approval for that. So they'll kind of give a high level update on that, and then it'll go to Plan Commission here later this evening for approvals on the site.
Great overview. Nate's going to do most of the talking. I think, Nate, you've met most of the commission before?
Yeah, I think we were
presented to you
here
before.
early in the spring.
Yeah.
Yep. So definitely did a lot more work since then. I think the partial plan set was included in the packet that had just a sample of the main, plan sheets, elevation sheets. We had a good rendering picture in there as well. Maybe just to give a quick overview again, it's a new building to replace an existing building. The old one was had a lot of failing components. The well is in great shape, and so to keep that well going forward, the village decided to continue with a new facility to house the well, and so bringing it up to new codes and building codes and everything like that. So the new building's slightly larger. It's about 555 square feet, one of the smallest ones we've done, but nonetheless, it's packed full of goodies. It has 3 rooms, a pump room, 2 chemical rooms to store chlorine and fluoride, just like the other well facilities. Some site work is going to take place. A new driveway is going to be cut, sidewalk, repaving the street in front, just because we're going to cut the old water main going from the old facility, install a new water main slightly adjacent to it. So to make it look clean, new pavement's going to be put in. Landscaping is going to be done or at least the plan's going to be done by the village to match what they would prefer. In general, though, it's a masonry block building with stone and brick veneers to match the other facilities as well. A hip-style metal roof was proposed, again, just to match other facilities. The pump is more or less staying the same. We're going to get a new pump in there. Pumps really typically last 10 to 20 years, and so the last one is 20 years old, nearing its useful life. The pump's going to have a variable frequency drive, which helps with energy efficiency. There will be a new 150 kilowatt natural gas generator located outside and back of the facility. There's natural gas already at the site. There's an existing natural gas generator as well. The generator will have an enclosure, a class 2, which is one of the best enclosures for attenuating the sound of the generator. I think the enclosure can come in various colors that could be selected. We can look more at the generator if we want, but it's about 6 feet tall, maybe 7 feet long, nothing too significant. Sound level at the property line, just based on the data sheets, at about 7 meters or whatever, 20 feet. At the property line is about 72 decibels, about the sound of a vacuum cleaner, so not too bad, but it is a generator. There are electric unit heaters, 1 gas instantaneous water heater, again to help with the energy efficiency. Ventilation, air conditioning, at least in the pump room where all the electrical equipment's going to be. Dehumidification, again to preserve those electrical components. And then chlorine and fluoride, chemical storage and feed equipment. High level overview, I mean, we've like Kyla said, we've dove into it. We're at about 50-60% design. I could say we're probably even further than that. A lot of the stuff is being shown here on the plan sheets. small touch-up items will be completed. Again, like Kyla said, we're still waiting on a PSC approval, which, you know, they already gave one letter back that had some comments, clarifying questions, that kind of thing. But, you know, we don't anticipate any major issues from that at that point. Once the project is done, we will be submitting to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. This is part of the water system plan approval process. Other than that, and we anticipate finalizing design in the fall here. A good time to bid these projects we found is in winter when contractors are looking for work for the following year. And so bidding sometime in winter, whether it's in December or January, is still on the schedule. Construction, depending on lead times and some of the generators and electrical equipment, again, could be over a year. And so construction will start, you know, early 2026 and will likely go into early 2027 for final completion. Guess we'll open it up to any questions or comments people may have.
One thing to clarify, you mentioned the size of the building, right, Nate? And
Yep.
we've talked about that, I think, a little bit before, and he mentioned it was on the smaller end. It still has all of the, you know, the usability that any building would have. It still has a separate chemical rooms. The reason for the size, we tried to maximize the size based on the setbacks. It's such a small lot, so to stay within the setbacks, not really need variance, but still get the functionality out of it, you know, it was kind of just the right fit for that location, so.
Yep, good point.
So I had two quick questions. One is on the outside generator, what kind of security is there for that? I mean, it's outside, it's exposed. I'm concerned with someone nefariously trying to do something to it.
Right, that's a good question. I'm not a super guru at generators, but I believe, you know, access panels, anything like that are locked.
Okay.
But, I mean, the exhaust tailpipe's probably exposed and, you know,
I'm gonna jump in for you.
go ahead.
So there are locks on all the generators. We're also, as part of this project, we're incorporating cameras and site access as we're trying to move that through all of our wells, because none of our wells currently have any outside controls to view any vandalism on that aspect. So that would be included in the project as well, working with Johnson Block, our IT service.
Okay, yeah, because the cameras I know we've talked about
Yep.
before. And then lastly, there was no consideration for solar on this building?
I think it was briefly, right?
It was briefly discussed at the beginning of the project. Something we're talking about at Public Works Commission is our sustainability goals. There's been some feedback from current board that we're not looking to spend as much on sustainability as we originally were. Do you want to input, Cam?
I mean, I'm not, even so, I think this building is fairly small for the amount of infrastructure that you have to put in. You know, no matter, you only can
Well, yeah,
put so
no,
many
I
panels,
just
right?
questioning the
For
payback,
all the, other
yeah.
the payback period, I think, would be a lot longer on all the other equipment that you'd need for that small array of
Okay.
panels that are
Well,
up there,
that's a
so.
good answer.
And just the sloping of it, right? We have like, you
Yeah.
know, 4 different kind of slopes to it,
No,
so
I
it's
just want
just,
everybody
yeah.
to know when
Yeah.
I bring my $4 utility
Yeah.
bill in, because I
Yeah.
do have solar.
Yes, yeah. So I don't think it's not one of those best situations
Best
where it's like,
uses.
we gotta put it here no matter what. It was one of those like, the
Yeah,
payback's
no,
gonna be quite a bit longer.
I got it, 100%, thanks. Any other comments?
I got just a couple things that I want to clarify. Mike, I'll let you go first.
I just had two real quick questions. I see we're going all the way out into the street to replace the water service to this. I'm assuming, obviously, we didn't upgrade that when we redid that subdivision a few years ago?
We did not. So currently, that water main is all 6-inch on Donna. So the plan is when we plan to redo Ollie here in 2027, we'd come back and grab and do a trench patch to upsize that all the way through. As there's such a small asphalt, we're gonna get better pricing for a fuller, longer water main and the road reconstruction when we do Ollie a
I was
year
gonna say, if they're
later.
showing that mill and overlay for now, we might as well skip that and just do what we have to do to patch the service until we're gonna do Ollie so soon.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then my only other comment was, hopefully we're considering a metal roof on this so we have longevity with our materials on the building.
So I had just a couple resident comments as well as just general comments. I think the big question always is why. the well, we have a well, why are we reconstructing a well? I'm gonna let you guys handle the why are we reconstructing, or the facility, but typically there's significant maintenance that's done with the actual well every 10 years. We're actually a little bit behind on our wells. So Kyla and I have mapped out all of our wells, and over the next 10 years that Ellers we'll take a look at with Ellers at next meeting, all the projects that are currently on the deck and what the impact on the rates are. The short answer to why we're having to reconstruct the building is based off of DNR requirements. If Strand could touch a little bit more on what's different with the new facility compared to the old facility.
Yeah, good question. Definitely the main driver of the project was DNR. Every 3 years, a sanitary survey is done to identify any things that don't meet the current requirements. And there was several, medium, level ones, but, you can only put so many Band-Aids on to make the facility look good. And so a couple of those include, the current facility has a backup engine generator inside the building, which the DNR, yes, it works, but it's not really the best case where, modern technology now, you have all these nicer generators that you put outside, less fire risk, et cetera, like that. And so having the generator outside, that's one. Two, two chemicals are currently stored in the same one room as, all the electrical gear and everything else, which poses hazards. And so requirements for the DNR now is to have these chemicals stored separately. And so this project adds the 2 additional rooms to house each of those chemicals, not only separate of the pump and the electrical equipment, but separate of each other, because if you do mix fluoride and chlorine, it's not good. So 2 chemical rooms are being added, which gives a lot of value there. And then just a general condition of, everything else. There wasn't good air conditioning set up there. There wasn't good exhaust. There was just standard residential windows there, which, could potentially have a security risk for the building. So again, lots of medium things, but, all come together with, okay, let's really make sure this facility can last another 50 years, as long as the well can last, and make it look good.
Thank you. And then my last comment on the well is the Public and Utility Commission. This, as part of the construction authorization, given the price tag of this project, it is on a docket on the PSC website. So there's additional attachment and things that have to be submitted and ultimately approved on the PSC website along with the board approving it. So for anybody who has questions on that project, I would point them to that. All that information is attached there, as well as our website.
Okay, great. Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Walk through the entire thing. Needless to say, we are at an A, which is great. We scored 100 points out of 100 points. I need approval by this board, and I will be submitting it to the DNR for their reporting aspects in the future. Just to be transparent with this board, I didn't realize that I needed board approval, so we're just a couple days late. The DNR is aware of that. I missed the June meeting by like 4 days. So approval here, it'll be submitted tomorrow, and we'll be good to go.
Okay, a motion to approve, please.
Motion
A
to
second?
approve.
And any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And no abstaining. Thank you. And then B, discuss and consider 0 lot line application for 221 West Parkview.
As part of the packet, you had 3 different attachments. I did not attach the CSM that I had just recently received for the lot on Parkview. The 0 lot application will be going to Plan Commission here in about an hour for their approval. As part of the 0 lot line application, it has to go through Utility Commission, as it does have a shared sanitary sewer lateral. So there's 2 separate water services which meet all of our regulations in the PSC. So everything is good on the water side. There is an agreement that both homeowners are aware that there is a shared lateral, and that any maintenance on that shared lateral would be associated with both property owners. That's pretty much all we need on the utility side, unless there's any questions about the duplex or the 0 lot line application.
And then a motion on this?
Yes, please.
Okay, a motion to approve, please. I'll make a motion to approve. John, and second?
I'll second.
Second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And no abstaining. Okay, Thank you. And I guess that takes us down now to the engineer's report.
So you had an engineer's report in your packet. Just briefly touch on a few things. Developer projects that are ongoing. West Lawn's working on the lift station up there. Looks like they're getting ready to pour their slab. So that's come along nicely. Amazon had all their utilities tested. Stuff was accepted up through there, which is a good thing. Amazon's got most of their public utilities in and ready to go. Heyday Construction is supposed to start here. They're saying right now they kind of pushed it off a little bit. They're waiting to deal with a little bit of right-of-way on the fundamental way, but they're still talking, I'm hearing July into August, starting that project, so you should see some construction happening out there. And then we're also still working on that kind of farm interceptor between the Coyle Highland South and the Pine Meadow Farms development. That's what they're calling the farms, the old farm golf course. We're working with both developers and coming up with a final layout of that so we can progress with bidding that project shortly. So you'll see back here, I think we should bring something back at the next meeting to just discuss how that alignment all lays out and what that interceptor looks like.
And for me, it's a timeline right now.
Yep.
Are we pushing it hard, or are we just gonna put it on the budget in January? I mean, it's gonna get done.
Yeah.
That I
Yep.
guarantee you, whether it's December or January next year.
Yep.
It's definitely gonna get done. To me, it's just like, how can you bid something when you got no idea how much it's gonna cost? I mean, Mike, well, no, but I mean, you're more of an
Yes,
expert on this than
yes.
I am.
I mean, yeah, the intent, I mean, from our perspective is we wanna, understand the budget and then plan on, hopefully bidding it and moving it, cause I know certainly the developer along Cottage Grove Road needs it to do projects that are pending to happen this year yet.
Okay. And there's no way they can, initiate those projects and then hook it up as soon as we're ready in January?
There are possibilities that we're working through, yes.
Okay. But,
And we are moving, Charlie, we are moving in the sense of having, the hard part is we're also dealing with the developer to the south. We're trying to put it in the right location so that they don't have to move it again or come in here and do something with the interceptor. It would be on their dime, but we're trying to avoid that altogether. And we're making good progress. So I think within the next month, we should have almost all of our answers and ready to go.
and then developer agreements are all in line already?
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think they're working on that now.
They are
Or about to.
we're currently started, we've got meetings next week that we hope to start those in the process here.
Okay, I just wanna assure everybody this is gonna happen.
Yeah. And I think it's still progressing pretty
Yeah.
well. As fast-tracked as it is, I think it's still progressing pretty good.
But I mean, the other question I had is, okay, we push it through in August, that's
Mhm.
fine. I
Yep.
got no problem with that. But if that's so, then I want something in writing saying that if 50 change orders come in, it's on the developer's dime, not ours.
Yeah. You're saying if we have to move something or all of a sudden we have to switch something and we have to redo
Or
things?
suddenly the price is tripled,
Yeah, well,
okay? And again, like I said, it's gonna happen. But I just wanna make sure we're not paying more than it has to be. Or suddenly everybody how much I love change orders, okay?
yeah. But are you worried, just let me ask you a question on that. So if we get a bid, right, and it's gonna be X dollars, right,
Sure.
the bid. This is a pretty straightforward project of you're putting pipe in from A to B.
Right.
Site conditions, yes, we have borings out there. We kind of know what's going on. We know where the groundwater is. What is your worry on change order? Is it a material cost that we're gonna all of a
Yes.
sudden have a jack up on material cost?
Yeah, I know there's always a contingency
Right.
built into the bid.
Usually, that's gonna be, so, the material cost is a tough one, where they can secure the pipe, but if they all of a sudden come back, I mean, it's hard for engineers and it's gonna be hard for contractors if there's a tariff put on something, or there's a price hike on something, and it's out of their control, they're gonna say it's your project, and they're just gonna walk away. They're not the
Well,
ones,
but I
you
don't.
know what I mean, like,
We can't walk away.
But it's-
Amazon's coming online.
I would agree, but
And
it's gonna be hard to get a contractor to pay double for pipe when they bid it at a different cost.
Okay.
We
So
have,
then
we
how
have to
do-
be quick with executing contracts and letting them order
So how do we
supplies.
pay, how do we pay for it if they walk away and then we've got, what is it, 78% flow already 2 years ago? And now Amazon comes online, what is it, then the village is responsible for the whole bill?
I think this was a wonderful conversation to have in August. All of this stuff is being looked at, the different options on how we fund this should A happen, B happen, or C happen.
Okay.
So it is,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get a lot more answers. I know Kyla mentioned the beginning of the developer agreement talks are happening. This is probably the last stage of that.
Yeah.
We're getting close to working through a lot of kind of the variables.
Okay,
So
but I just want to make sure everybody knows we're
Yeah.
going to do this.
We're moving.
It just, I would like to be more certain on the cost,
That's fair.
okay? Anything else?
Oh, we talked about well number 2 tonight, Gaston Road and that water main loop that we're working on. We're just starting up conversations with the county and the township. And then just the skate updates are actually happening pretty fast. They actually think they're gonna hit their August substantial final completion, which was really slow, and all of a sudden, a bunch of stuff's happening the last couple months.
Okay,
Yep.
much appreciated.
So don't be surprised. There are going to be some big bills coming for, I think SJE is the contractor. So we paid one of those. There's going to be a couple coming down the line, but that's what that is. And we have set aside impact dollars to pay for it. And it's all been accounted for.
Okay, again, thank you. Number 9, Director's Report.
Included in your packet is a couple updates on the utility side for this month. In terms of the Verizon service on Water Tower 3, Charlie just executed our side of the lease agreements today, so that will be sent on to Verizon here tomorrow morning for their execution, and I'm waiting for one final permit before they, and a start date for when they start that work on the tower. We are continuing our valve exercising throughout the village, specifically looking at streets that we're looking to pave and potentially pulverize and reconstruct next year. This way we're making sure all our valves are working in those streets. And then the water service that we talked about at Fireman's Park was actually completed on Monday. So that was all done, got it all good to go. And so now we have a shut off there and a blow off. So it's all updates I have unless anyone has any questions.
Yep, and the valve was buried. So as soon as they started digging, they found the existing valve from 1906 or something. And
On the bright side, it didn't work. So they dug down and now the valve actually works.
yes, yeah, they exercised it quite well.
Yep.
They're very nice people too, by the way. And then number 10, future agenda items. Anyone?
We're gonna have Ellers present here at the Utility Commission here in August.
That is going to be a marathon meeting. I think Kyla and I, so I think those who are kind of sharing double duties with Public Works, we might want to talk about timing of that meeting.
The farm, interceptor that we were just talking about, a lot of decisions on that or conversation.
More to come on timing of meeting, depending on double duties here.
Okay. So adjournment, a motion please to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? No one abstaining? Thank you, as always, everyone.